What up, what up, what up, what up, YouTube and sports fans, WTP sports dudes. We live. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button and as well subscribe to the channels. I got my main man, the homie, Rob of WTP Sports Dudes. How you feel tonight, homie?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm glad I was able to join tonight. I was running a little bit late, so I'm kind of glad that you hadn't started before I got on. But I'm glad to be here. I had a really good day today, and I'm glad to see you. I'm happy to see everybody that's out there in the chat and who's tuning in this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, if you in the chat, man, please feel free to give us your opinion on the topics. We respond to everything and we appreciate the input and feedback. Rob, it's been a crazy day of sports. A lot of things transpired. Some big news in the NFL, some big news in the NBA. So we might as well get started. What kind of impact will DJ Moore have on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills?
Man, if you watch what he did this past season for the Bears and how he was the go-to guy for Williams a lot of times out there, especially when Roma Doomsday wasn't available. This guy is going to be one of those receivers that Josh Allen is going to be able to rely on. He's going to be able to get many, many touches and opportunities. He's going to be able to relieve a lot of the stress that Josh Allen has to have on his shoulders because he's the man. Now he got another man to roll with him. And we know that whenever Josh Allen has had a good wide receiver, like he had in his first couple of years, he's been able to do some wonders, man. And I'm glad that he's gotten another piece to go with him on that offensive side of the ball. I think this is a fantastic move. I know that the Bills are happy that they were able to pull off such a thing because I had no idea DJ Moore would even be on the market. But apparently the Bills gave him an offer they couldn't refuse. And so now he's in Buffalo. And I think he's going to have a huge impact on that offense with Josh Allen, especially when you got a brilliant mind like oh man, his name slips my name. I mean Joe Brady. When you got a guy like Joe Brady calling those shots, man, I think it's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you because I feel like DJ Moore, although he's 29, he's probably played his best football, but I still think you can squeeze some really good years out of him, at least three or four. But the impact he will have is tremendous. You look at the Bills' offense; they go Shakir, at wide receiver. They got the big tight end, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, and you know what type of running game they present. This move was so impactful because now I believe they can take their attentions to defense as far as the NFL draft goes and really get some dudes on that defense and begin to rebuild that defense because I feel like having Josh Allen with a DJ Moore, a Shakir, Dalton Kincaid and that running back, that's gonna be fireworks, bro. I really like that move. A lot of people thought AJ Brown would be the guy to go to Buffalo or get traded to Buffalo. DJ Moore isn't as good as Brown, but I would definitely take DJ Moore on my team. Any more thoughts on this topic?
No, but that's a really good move for the Buffalo Bills. I know that.
For sure, for sure, for sure. The next question is what kind of oh, I'm sorry. That's not the next question. That's the first question. The next question will be why do you believe the Bears were willing to trade DJ Moore for draft picks?
I think the Bears realized that they were really, really close this past season offensively because they were able to put up points, but their defense was not up to par, and they was giving up way, way, way too many points. So I think they wanted to be able to stockpile as many picks as they could in this draft, simply so they can start to address some of the needs on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball. And you mentioned the fact that, DJ Moore is 29 years old. So he's on his back end of his NFL career. And they got a guy like Roma Doomsday, if he can stay healthy, could be a guy who can become that player like that outlet that Williams needs the way DJ Moore was, especially in the playoffs. So hopefully this move was specifically so that they can address the needs they need on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, uh, I believe the Bears were willing to trade DJ Moore for the draft picks because they really like their young wide receivers. I think Burton is the guy to watch out for when it comes to the Chicago Bears. I know that coaching staff really like Luther Burton and the potential he has. Of course, you got Rome Odunze, but also look at the tight end position. You got Cole Komet, you got Colston Loveland. That's a really explosive passing game that the Chicago Bears can have potentially. So I felt like out of all their receivers, they probably like DJ Moore the least. I know there were some games this past season where DJ Moore was doing some pouting, and I just think he's in a better situation than Buffalo. And I think the Bears really like their young wide receivers they have on the team currently. That Chicago Bears team can also focus on the defensive side of the ball. I think they like when they take a wide receiver in the draft, they might try to take one later on, but I believe their focus should be on the defensive side of the ball, plugging some holes in that defense so that the Bears can be a really strong contender for the Super Bowl this upcoming season. You got anything else on this subject?
Yeah, I liked it the fact that you mentioned Luther Burton. He really fell to the Bears for one in last year's draft. And the fact that he was coming on last year, he played really, really good for his rookie season. I was high on him in college the first couple of years. I didn't think he had as good a season last year, so that was what made him fall to the Bears. Uh, and I think that second or third round of the draft last year. But that was a huge pickup, and he balled out this season. So I agree with you. The fact that Luther Burden shown that he could be a key player at his wide receiver position for the Bears made it a lot easier to give up DJ Moore.
Absolutely, absolutely. Be sure you smash that like button if you in the chat and give us your thoughts on the topics. Let us know what you think. Rob, after the combine, is there any player who shot up the draft board for you personally?
Well, I really felt like Sonny Styles was going to be a first round draft pick, somewhere between 10 and 20. Now I think he's definitely going to be in the top 10, possibly even in the top five. But the guy that I really think, and Mossberg had been talking about this for a while, about Anthony Hill possibly being a first round pick. I think what Anthony Hill did at the combine, he probably made himself some money by getting drafted later on in that first round. And I think he's going to be able to do that because I had him as a second round guy, but now I think he's going to make it into the first round at one of those late picks because he's a guy who can definitely play the linebacker position. He got to get a little bit better in coverage, but the fact that he has another skill set, which is he can rush the passer, you can do some things with this guy at that linebacker position to get after the quarterback. And I think the fact that he had the measurables that he had, the speed that he had, teams are going to be able to use him in that manner.
Yeah, that's a very good pick. And Mossberg did mention him. And I know that's one of your guys in the draft, man. So I definitely think he has a great chance to sneak into that first round, the back end of the first round. So we'll see. Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, if you're watching, man, happy birthday to my pop. So if you're watching this stream, pop, happy birthday to you. I know you having a great one. So the guy for me that I'm gonna look at who kind of shot up my draft board is a wide receiver, and I'm looking at Chris Brazzell from Tennessee, 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver. Look, I think Streams back. I think it was SEC Shine and Zay. I believe we're talking about him. And they were saying how he could sneak into the first round. And I think one of them predicted that his 40 time would be in the 4.5s. So at 6'4", 200 pounds, he actually ran in the 4.3s. Huge. To be that big and moving like that, to be that tall and be able to move like that at the wide receiver position, I think that's just going to be too much for a GM to pass up on. And I think he's going to be one of the steals of the drafts. I mean, that's almost comparable to Randy Moss, man. I know Randy Moss is a once in a generation type player, but at 6'4", 200 pounds and being able to get down in the 4.3s, I thought that was huge for the wide receiver from Tennessee. Any thoughts on that?
He definitely made him some money. That's for sure. He definitely made him some money. He's going to go higher than maybe what they had him projected at before the combine. And this is what you want to happen for these guys when they go to the combine. You want them to go and show out so that teams can see them and improve their draft stock. And he did just that by running in the 4.3s. That gives him an opportunity to have some teams say, listen, we can use this guy. We were thinking about getting him in this round with this pick, but now we might have to adjust our draft because this guy is somebody who can make a difference for our team with that kind of speed. And that's what you hope for with these guys when they go to the combine.
Yeah, no doubt, man. There was a lot of fast 40 times, especially amongst the wide receivers, man. They just blazed that 40 time. It was exciting to see, and it's going to be really exciting to see how many of those guys actually get into the first round or early second. Is there any player whose draft stock took a hit after the combine, in your opinion?
Man, I felt like Caleb Downs was the best player in the draft, even though he wasn't going to be somebody that was going to get drafted number one because of the position that he plays. I thought he was the best player in this draft. But I think the fact that he didn't have what teams probably was expecting from him in terms of what he his skill set is, I think it might have took a hit, man, and he might go from the top 10 pick to being 10 through 20, or maybe even later than that. It just depends on if a team is willing to take a chance on a position player who plays the safety position, which we know those guys usually don't get picked because they're not cornerbacks. So his, I think, took a hit. Caleb Downs, I think he's a really good football player. He's really smart, but his measurables at the combine did not do him any service. So I think his took a hit for sure.
Interesting. Interesting. I think his pro day is going to be huge, and I think he probably needs to perform really well in that pro day because everybody knows he's one of the best players, best two or three players, if not the best player in the draft. But I think in order for him to get back in that conversation for top 10 overall, he needs to knock his pro day out of the park. For me, I think I'm gonna go with a guy who had a solid season, but really did well in the bowls, the senior bowls, um, at the wide receiver position. But when he got to the NFL Combine, although he performed well everywhere else, sorry about that. Although he performed everywhere else, I think his 40 time was a little slow, and it probably halted the momentum he had going into the NFL Combine. He probably won't be a first round pick now, and that's the wide receiver Malachi Fields. Still a freakish athlete, just not the fastest guy. He's probably gonna win the most of the time in the NFL on jump balls. So I think that he still be a great pick, but first round he probably performed himself out of the first round. I think Zay said he tried to join and the stream ended. I don't know what that means. And he
Yeah, he
said
might have to try it again.
he said they said Caleb got dead man knee. What's that, man? Please let us know what that is, my man, in the chat. Or you can join the stream. I don't know. Maybe you want to try again. We definitely would love to have you up here. So let me ask you this, Rob. Do you think the fact that Ruben Bain is considered to have really short arms for a pass rushing defensive end, do you think some teams are going to be scared off by that? Or is the tape just so dominant that they might, overlook the short arms?
I think they're definitely going to take a second look at the fact that he has those short arms. And when you start thinking about some of the teams you're going to face this season and seasons going forward, some of the tackles he's going to have to go up against. Some tackles out there are really, really dominant, bro, on the offensive side of the ball. And if you got those short arms and those tackles, those offensive tackles can get their paws on you and you can't get into their chest or you can't knock their arms off, you're going to have it rough. I think the fact that his motor is what it is and he goes hard every play and he's going to come with physicality, he's still going to be a high pick. But I think in that first five range, he's probably going to slip out of there, man. I don't think those short arms are going to do him any justice in those first five picks where I felt like he was going to go because I picked him to go to my Titans at 4. I think those short arms might be an issue for some teams, man, and he's going to fall out of the top 5, which I thought he would be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I thought coming into the draft that Ruben Bain was the best defensive end available and probably the number one edge or defensive end on everybody's draft board. I still think that even if he slides in the NFL draft, I still think whoever gets him is going to be a steal. I think he's going to be productive in the NFL. I know there are concerns about his arm length, but I believe his power, his motor, relentlessness, and ability to want to compete and win, I think he's going to end up being a steal for someone. I don't think he'll be a top 5 pick. Top 10 is a little shaky, but maybe somewhere 10 to 15, somebody to take him. I think he'll be an absolute steal at that point of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I think the way it looks right now for him, and I'm quite sure he's hearing some of the murmuring, he really should get with someone who could help him with some of his pass rush moves, some of his run defense moves, so that because I think he's a really good run defender. But when you got those short arms and a guy can get his paws on you, he can sort of move you at that point. Hopefully he can get with somebody this year, next year, that by the year year two, going into year three, he'll be able to have some moves that he can rely on so that could help him with the fact that he has short arms.
Hey Rob, do you mind sharing the leak to One Take Zay? Because
Yeah.
here's the saying he backstage, but I don't see anyone.
I hope he's not in I hope he's not in SEC Sean's thing because it was
Oh
on
yeah,
there too.
yeah, that's right. He did go live, or he did some kind of work early. I don't know if he went live or just shot a video, but that's probably what he ended up doing.
Yeah, I'll send it to him though.
Cool, excellent. So, I mean, while you sending that, let's move on to the next question. And the next question is, who would you like your favorite team to take in this year's draft? Who would you like your favorite team to take in this year's draft?
Well, I mean, last week I said Ruben Bain, man, but after dealing with this short arm stuff, I'm telling you right now, who I wanted to be is Arvell Reese. That's who I want to be. But will Arvell Reese fall all the way to four? Maybe not. There's a chance though. Maybe not. But Arvell Reese definitely is who I want them to get because he's so multiple. He could do a lot of things that can help this Tennessee Titans defense. So that's who I want them to get, but I don't know if he's going to fall there. And if he doesn't fall there, I oh man, that's a tough. It'll probably have to be Sonny Styles at linebacker.
So you got Sonny Styles vaulting up to that top five pick, huh?
I don't want them to get a linebacker there, but man, you can't pass up on that skill set, man, and that speed and that talent, man. You just can't pass it up because I think he's another guy who, if he gets in the right system and they understand what they got, they can use him as a pass rusher, especially on pass rushing downs. As another guy that can get after the quarterback with speed, with size, with power and strength that can make some things happen.
Now I know, I believe our last stream or the stream before that, you expressed your concerns about Carnell Tate, um, and I think justifiably. But I've been seeing some mocks, a lot of mocks lately with Tennessee Titans, your Tennessee Titans taking Carnell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State. How would you feel if the Titans took Carnell Tate with those edge rushers and linebackers still on the board?
I like Carnell Tate. I do. I do like Carnell Tate. I just don't like Carnell Tate at number four. That's all. I would if it's really gonna come down to it and they can't get Arvell Reese, then I would like to see my Tennessee Titans trade back a little bit and maybe get some other picks and maybe get a guy later on that fits whatever pick they fall back to. If it's not going to be Arvell Reese, I think they should draft backwards. I like Carnell Tate, I do, but I don't like Carnell Tate at four. I would rather have Carnell Tate maybe around 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around in there.
Okay, okay. So you want your Titans to get defensive?
I really do want them to get their defense together, but I don't want them to use this whole draft or more than half of this draft doing that. I really think that they can get into free agency and get some players to help on the defensive side of the ball, especially when they already got their interior already set. They got a really good interior. They got to get some guys on the edge, and they got some get some guys in the secondary. But to do that, I would like to see them get some of those players out of free agency who already got some experience, as opposed to having to rely on a rookie. You offensively, you can put a rookie out there offensively, especially at the skill positions, and they're gonna do what they do. They're gonna ball. They can ball out. But defensively, it's a totally different ball game, when you're throwing a rookie out there. Now we seen even Warren do what he did, but he had a whole bunch of solid pieces around him. He wasn't just the only one out there.
Yeah, no doubt. SEC Shine in the chat. Shout out to SEC Shine. Go subscribe to his channel. He says he wants the Texans to go after offensive linemen, or if he's still there, Price at running back. Yeah, I think the Texans that would definitely get them some help. I mean, David Montgomery though, I believe they just traded for David Montgomery. I wouldn't draft Price at this point unless he falls into the second round. I wouldn't burn uh, my first round on the running back and I just signed David Montgomery. I just wouldn't do it. What about you, Rob?
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't get Price with that first round pick since I've already got Montgomery. Um, I think Price is a first round talent. Later on, I mean, he's not Jeremiah Love, but he's not far off either. But I wouldn't if I was the Texans, I wouldn't do that, especially as much offensive line help as they need. That's where their focus should be, definitely in the first round. Especially when they got a defense that's lights out, bro. You ain't really got to worry about your defense a whole lot. You can really focus on your early picks on the offense for real.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, when we talk about my Indianapolis Colts, Rob, we don't have a first round pick. So I'm not as excited, but I understand them trading for Sauce Gardner, hoping to wake him up and help him realize just what type of talent he has at the quarterback position. But my Colts don't have a first round pick. I believe they picked like 47th in the second round. There's one guy that I'm hoping is there, and that is Dominique Orange, the big defensive tackle from Iowa State. If we can get that big old monster in the middle, or a linebacker at that point in the draft, maybe a linebacker fell, but linebacker or defensive tackle, preferably the defensive tackle from where's it, Arizona State? Yeah, Iowa State. I'm sorry, the big defensive tackle from Iowa State. I think that would be perfect for the Indianapolis Colts. They got to get stronger up the middle, linebacker or that big defensive tackle out of Iowa State. I will be happy if the Colts drafted like that. So we'll see what happens. I know your son. What you say?
Is Orange a zero technique, one technique? He's over the center.
Yeah, I believe he's over the center,
Yeah.
but I mean, even though the Colts just need depth along the defensive line. I think he'll be a big help if they're able to get him. Um, Moss said, "Go subscribe to Level Up Sports 10." Moss in the chat, he said, "Big moves for Buffalo and Chicago was releasing some money. It seems." Yeah, I think we cooked on that. Me and Rob cooked on that. I do think that both teams are now able to focus on the defensive side of the ball. I think Chicago needs to get better on defense. Buffalo definitely needs to get better on defense. So I understand the moves, but I think it does improve that Buffalo Bills offense and passing attack. Anything on that, Rob?
Yeah, we like you said, we cooked on that earlier. I think both of those teams understand the move that they just made today allows them to really focus on their defense.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, Rob, you know I'm a huge boxing fan. Like I love the sport. I love the art of the sport. I love the discipline. I love the training. I just think it's a high level physical chess match. So, with that being said, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao seem to be headed towards a rematch. Who you taking in this fight, my man?
I mean, I in a fight like this, I'm always going to take Floyd Mayweather because of the defense that he has. He makes it very difficult for any fighter that gets in the ring with him to be able to just tee off on him. That shoulder roll is vicious. He counter punches really, really well. Pacquiao is a really good opponent for him. I just wish this was something that they did maybe 15 years ago. At this point in the game, I really want Floyd Mayweather to go ahead and leave the whole boxing thing alone. Go ahead and maybe continue to promote fighters and that kind of thing. But for him to get back in the ring, I don't really need to see that anymore. Don't even run the risk of getting a blemish on your record. You might upset some scorekeepers out there, some referees out there that might mess around and put a blemish on your record. Go ahead and chill out. You did your thing. You've shown that you was one of the greatest fighters of all time. I don't want to see this fight. If it comes on, I'll probably watch the highlights on YouTube or something like that. But I think Floyd Mayweather will definitely beat Pacquiao if they were to fight again, just because he has really, really good defense.
Yeah, well, remember they fought back in 2015 and Floyd won by unanimous decision. Um, man, like, do you think what's the reason why you think Floyd Mayweather is coming back? Do you think it's his love for boxing? Do you think he's having financial issues, or do you think he just wants some more money?
I mean, it got to be money, man. I don't think he's having any financial issues. I think he's been frivolous with his spending, but he ain't spent all that bread, and I think he's had some good investments as well. I think he just loves he loves boxing. He loves a challenge, and this is a fight that he knows can pull in some serious bank. So he just doesn't want to pass it up, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see that. I mean, Floyd has made hundreds of millions of dollars in the sport of boxing. I think at this point of their careers, I want to see. I'm not over the hill excited for this fight, but I'm going to watch, especially with it being on Netflix. But I want to see if Floyd still has those quick reflexes. I want to see if his defense is still solid, the most solid defense probably ever. I want to see how Floyd is moving at this age and this point of his career. Manny Pacquiao likes to get punches off from weird angles and throw punches at a high volume. So of all anytime people compare Floyd and Mayweather or Mayweather and Pacquiao, I've always, even before they fought, I've always given Floyd the upper hand because I just feel like Floyd, Manny Pacquiao's style is tailor made for Floyd Mayweather. Like it's going to be the same thing as long as neither one of these guys have fallen too far off. I think it'll be more of the same. You'll get the same exact fight. Manny getting frustrated, he can't hit and hurt Floyd. Floyd moving around, using his legs, using that defense, pot shotting, using that jab. So interested in that way of that fight. I mean, I would rather see the younger guys get it on, of course, but I mean, if I can get Floyd and Pacquiao too, I'll take it. SEC Sean said Floyd easy in my opinion.
I'm
He-
really anxious to see what you just said, to see if he's lost any of his speed, any of his footwork. Is he a step slow here and there? Like we've seen many, many fighters over the years, we've seen them sort of lose it, and we got to the point where we said, listen, this guy probably should go ahead and hang it up. We didn't necessarily get to see that about Floyd once he ended his career. So it will be interesting to see if maybe he's lost a little bit of that speed, a little bit of that agility, a little bit of that defense. So for that point that you made, I would like to see that as well.
oh, for sure. That's definitely going to be very interesting because You gotta think, what if Floyd can't move like he used to move? But man, he still got those fast hands. He still throws at those weird angles. I think that's going to pull in a lot of people, a lot of spectators to see if Manny Pacquiao can hit and hurt Floyd. Because I know a lot of people don't like Floyd. So, but I've always been one to say like I'm never betting against Floyd Mayweather. He's just shown and proven his whole entire career. There have been reports that Jason Tatum could play this Friday. Good or bad for the Celtics title hopes.
Well, when you get one of the best players in the league back, it definitely couldn't be bad. But like I said on an earlier stream a couple of weeks ago, unless you got a plan for how you're going to introduce him into the lineup, how many minutes he's going to play, where you going to plug him in at, who you going to plug him in with, I just don't think you want to risk the chance of messing up that chemistry that they got right now. I don't know what effect it's going to have on Jalen Brown and what he's been doing carrying the team here lately. I just don't know if I would mess with that. I definitely want to see Jason Tatum get back on the court just for his sake so we can see how far he's come since the injury. But I'm not willing to mess up that chemistry, man. So if he's going to come in there with the mindset, I'm going to go out there with some of these second unit guys, play a couple of minutes, see how it feels, get my legs back, and not necessarily be trying to force my way into the starting lineup, I would be cool with it. But if his intention is to come in there and do that, come into the starting lineup, then I would not be in favor of that. I think that would be a bad move.
Well, it's a lot of different like things you can look at because first of all, him being back in 10 months from a Achilles injury, amazing. The fact that they're bringing him back so quickly, like the Boston Celtics, and people, please, you gotta understand these are the Boston Celtics is not a bad ran organization. They know what they're doing. They're not going to bring back Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum isn't going to agree to come back so quick if he wasn't in great physical condition. I believe the reports that Jason Tatum looks like his old self, I believe that to be true if he's coming back this fast. And a miraculous recovery. Now, could it have a setback? Yeah, but I hope not. But from all I've heard, it looks like he's going to be good to go for Friday. I don't believe he should be inserted right back into the starting lineup, as Rob just expressed. But I think you should bring him along slowly. Uh, I don't know if he's going to hurt the chemistry that bad with him being gone for only 10 months. It's not like it was 2 years or a year and a half. But I do agree with you. I think they should bring him along slowly and not put too much on his plate, so soon. Just let him get his feet under him, get back in the groove. And then about time the playoffs roll around, hope that that chemistry is there and he can be asserted back into the starting lineup. Or if they feel like at this point he's better coming off the bench as the sixth man, I'm cool with that too. But I mean, just it shows tremendous character, tremendous, you know, work ethic. And I've always talked about the sports medicine of today is tremendous. So you add all those things in totality, and I think that the Boston Celtics fans should be really excited. And I believe they're not bringing him back this quickly because he looks okay. I think he's probably looking great. So this is a good thing for the Boston Celtics and that organization. Now let me ask you this, because a lot of people think that Jalen Brown is actually the better player between him and Tatum. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think Tatum is the best player in Boston? Do you think uh, Brown is the best player in Boston?
Man, that's a really, really good question, man. I'm a huge Jalen Brown fan as a person, but man, Jason Tatum, I think he gives a team more than what, not by a long stretch though, but he gives them more than Jalen Brown does. So I would say Jason Tatum is the better player. He Jason Tatum is one of those players where he is very, very consistent at what he does. He's able to do just about everything on that court. And we saw last year where Jalen Brown, uh, he sort of mentally might have wasn't all the way there, dealing with whatever he might have been dealing with, uh, and he wasn't as spectacular as we saw him be to get that huge contract that he got. So I think Jason Tatum is, if I had to pick between those two in a draft, I'm taking Jason Tatum.
Yeah, no arguments from me. I mean, it's really for me. Brown has made it really difficult, especially with Tatum being out, to pick against him. But I don't know, man. I just think the fact that you got two MVP caliber wings like that, I think that is a great building block for a franchise to have two dominant big wings. They got big wings on the perimeter in Tatum and Brown. I think that is extremely difficult to deal with in a recipe for success and the way they coach in Boston and built that program around those players. Boston can be a really scary team come playoff time. Let's go over to the WNBA, Rob. I like the WNBA a little bit, a lot of bit. But will this be the best WNBA draft in recent memory? Now, before you answer that, I want to go through some players that's going to be in this year's draft. All right, so you got Azzy Fudd from UConn. There's a female from Spain, Awa Fam. She potentially could be the first Spain big to be drafted first overall. You got the female Magic Johnson, in my opinion, Olivia Miles, Fear the Goggle. You know, I've talked about her on the podcast a lot. I love her ability to pass. Like it's like she got eyes in the back of her head. So I love Olivia Miles. You got Lauren Betts from UCLA, the center. You got Kiki Rice, the guard from UCLA. You got Flaw J. Johnson from LSU. Uh, Gianna Neatkins from UCLA. Gabriel Jacquez. Raven Johnson from South Carolina. You got so many really good ballers in this draft. What do you think about the upcoming WNBA draft? Are these the players of the future?
I definitely think that these are the players of the future, and I think the WNBA should really be applauding the fact that they are about to get a plethora of players coming out of the college ranks to join the WNBA that's going to make that league that much more competitive, that much more exciting. Because I think the players that's coming in this draft, in years past, you've had 4 or 5 really, really solid players that you knew were going to be it. And then there was another group of players who you knew were going to be good, but they weren't going to bolster all the attention that those other 3 or 4 would do. This group that's coming in this year, all of those players, and it's probably about 12 to 15 to 18 players who, wherever they end up, bro, they're going to be balling. They're going to make that team extremely competitive and extremely good. And I think this year's draft is going to be it's going to be better than the ones 2 3 years ago.
Yeah, I really like this group of players that's coming from the college, the college game. I just think their potential is through the roof. I've always talked about Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts, Flaw J. Johnson, players like that. But man, I believe Olivia Miles should go number one because of her improved ability to shoot the three. She's gonna run the point guard. She's a bigger guard for the WNBA. Rebound, assist, score, and like I've always said, just the most pretty passes, no look passes you've seen in the women's game for a long time. But I got to say this, Rob. I think 2026 is a great class. I think 27 is the elite class. Why do I say that? Juju Watkins, Michaela Williams, Madison Booker, potentially, Audie Crooks, Malaysia Wiley, and of course, my favorite player, who I think is the best player in college basketball, that's Hannah Hidalgo. So I think 2020, while 2026 is an electrifying class, I think the class is 2027. So many future all stars and MVPs and world champions is going to come from 2027.
Yeah, I'm,
Especially, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead. You finish it.
I was just gonna say, especially if Juju Watkins is healthy and back to her old self and getting better and better like she was supposed to be doing. But obviously the injury derailed her career a little bit, but I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Madison Booker from Texas because I really do feel like Texas is probably going to throw some serious money her way to get her to come back for another season. Well, you know what? I don't know if they can because she'll probably be out of eligibility because she's played. No, wait a minute, wait a
She
minute.
got she got one more year.
Oh yeah, this is only her junior year. Wow.
Mhm.
God. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, she's coming back for another year. And they're going to throw some money at her. But I Madison Booker, if you ever hear this off season, you have got to upgrade your three ball. If you get that three ball cooking, young lady, you will be unfreaking stoppable. I
Yeah,
mean, unfreaking stoppable. But you got to get that three ball. They got to get up there in the 37 to 40% clip. I'm telling you, if you can drop it like that, you can't be guarded because your mid range game is unbelievable.
yeah, that mid range is a beautiful thing to watch, man. That's for sure. Were you able to catch any of the women's college basketball tournament games today?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, let me tell you what you missed. Hannah Hidalgo. I know Moss is somewhere smiling because I keep talking about her. Hannah Hidalgo, I've never seen, and I may be wrong, so please chime in if I'm wrong, but I've seen bigs, I've seen power forwards and centers on the woman's side dictate the game offensive or defensively or both. I've seen that from a big. I have not seen that from a 5'6" point guard. She dictates the game on the offensive side of the ball. She dictates the game on the defensive side of the ball. Scouting report is her on both sides of the paint, both offense and defense. The first thing on the scouting report is her. And I'm sorry, but Rob, I just haven't seen any female affect the game. She controls the game while the other team is trying to score. And she controls the game when she has the ball in her hand and her team is on offense. I'm sorry. I haven't seen anything like this. You can call it what you want it, but I think Hannah Hidalgo is on her. on her way to making a crazy run. They got NC State. I know that's a tough out for anybody, but I just think they one of the hotter teams right now. They won like 8 out of 9 and like 6 in a row. They clicking at the right time. They playing really good defense, spearheaded by Hidalgo, of course. I can see this Notre Dame team making a huge run, Rob. I just had to say that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Now we right at 50, so I'm gonna throw in a bonus question or two. AJ DeBansa. Let's talk about the men's side of college basketball. AJ DeBansa, I think he had an interview, and to sum it up, he pretty much said that there's a chance that he's going to stay with BYU and play college basketball for his sophomore year. Do you think that's a wise thing to do? You think AJ DeBansa should go be a top 1 or 2 pick in the NBA draft, or do you think if he wants to stay in college and he's getting paid well, but do you think he should go to the NBA having that kind of draft stock, or do you think he should stay at BYU?
I mean, the ultimate goal of all those players that are in college is to make it to the next level, which is the NBA. You might as well go ahead and get that clock started now because the goal is to get into the NBA first and foremost, but then to get to that second contract as fast as possible. I mean, that's when you're going to start making some serious money. Now, if you was comparing the NFL and the NBA, then maybe you might stick around in the college ranks a little bit longer. But when you're talking basketball, bro, you go ahead and get that clock started as quickly as possible. He needs to go ahead and go on to the NBA after this season because I think the reality is his game is not going to get as good as it can get until he goes to the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would like to see it for college basketball, a player of that caliber stay for his sophomore year, which is something we don't see much of when you talk about elite talented players in college basketball. As much as I would like to see that, I just think there's no reason to. If you're projected to be the first pick, second pick, third pick, even a top 10 pick, I think that's a no brainer. Even first round, I would say if agents were telling me or teams were telling me, I don't know how the rules are and how that goes, but if my people were telling me first round or better, lottery pick, top 5 pick, I think it's a no brainer. You start your professional career, even though college basketball is trending that way. But I would go to the NBA. I wouldn't waste another year in college. We've seen great players who were projected to go in the first round, stick around too long in the college game, and then end up not getting picked at all because they didn't strike when the iron was hot. So I feel like AJ needs to take his butt to the NBA as soon as he makes his March Madness run.
Yeah,
Anything else? Go
I
ahead.
mean, it would be different if BYU was going to have a chance to compete for a national championship. Man, they not about to compete for no national championship. When you start looking at all those other teams out there that have really talented basketball teams, he's wasting his time. Go get that bread, man. You're gonna be a lottery pick, and go ahead and get your NBA clock started because you're not going to be able to win a championship at BYU. You're not going to be able to get the rest of the kind of players around you to help you do that. So you might as well go ahead and finish out this season, get that bread that you got from BYU for this season, and go get your NBA bread.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. It's time to move on, man. College is one and done for athletic freaks now. So, I mean, another question I got, like Caleb Wilson still isn't clear to return for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Do you think the Tar Heels can do anything without Caleb Wilson?
They can win a game. That's about it. They can win a game. I mean, once you get to the round of 32, the level of competition is a lot stiffer because now you're going to play somebody either 1 through 8, or it could either be, well, yeah, 1 through 8. So chances of you running into a team that you could possibly take out again after the first round, it's probably slim enough for them without Wilson. So I don't I don't see it, man. And I'm not that high on this North Carolina team as it is. I know that they beat Duke at home with that comeback, but Duke gave that game away. So I don't think so for North Carolina.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I don't think they gonna get very far without Mr. Wilson. That dude's an athletic freak and definitely the engine that makes that team go. Last question, man, and we can get out of here. My guy Jeremiah Love had a absolute freakish NFL combine. If you look at some of the metrics, I think he's like a couple inches taller and like 15 pounds heavier than Jameer Gibbs. But Jeremiah Love and Jameer Gibbs run the same exact 40 time. Do you think seeing those numbers, seeing the tape, do you think that Jeremiah Love is a lock to go top five? Even if that means that a team trades up to get him, you think he's going, do you think he did enough to get in the top five, or do you think he'll go in the top 10?
I mean, I definitely know he's going in. I believe he's going to go in the top 10. But the thing that I think is in favor for Jeremiah Love is the fact that the running back position has become a position of value again. After you've seen what Gibbs and what Bijan Robinson has done, and Bijan Robinson with the seventh pick to the Falcons, and then later on in that first round, Gibbs went to the Lions. I think that NFL teams are starting to value the running back position again, like it once did in the past, because now running backs who can be third down running backs really expands your offense now because they don't have to lead the field. And there's so many things you can do with a running back like Jeremiah Love. So I can definitely see him going in the top 10, but he could definitely go in the top five too. I think he's that caliber of talent. And I think if a team wants them a really, really good running back, and I wouldn't be surprised if, the Titans took a really hard look at him at number 4. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to do anything other than that. You got to look at every talent that's out there that can fit a need that you have. And I think they got a need at running back at Tennessee. I think he can go in the top 5. Will he? Probably not, because of the teams that are picking there and they need so much. Um, but I definitely, he's going in the top 10 in my opinion, for sure. You can't pass up on a guy like that, man, if you can get him in the top 10.
Yeah, I think some people were saying to Arizona, but I think that will, like you said, it's hard to pass up on a player like that. I personally have him as the best player on the board. But the problem with the Arizona Cardinals taking him would be they need so much offensive line help that they don't want to get the kid banged up, to start his career. But I'm really starting to think that the Commanders are honing in on picking Jeremiah Love if he's there. Now you could see a scenario where somebody trades up to pick Jeremiah Love, i.e., the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that would be the best fit for him. But I definitely I believe Jeremiah Love, faster 40 time to Saquon Barkley. The tape, believe your eyes, because the tape don't lie. That dude is just spectacular. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was a top 5 pick, but I think he'll go somewhere between 5 to 8, 5 to 9, somewhere in there, just depending on team needs and if somebody's moving. Now somebody can move up and he can go 3, 4, 5, but we'll see what happens. Any closing thoughts so we can get out of here, my man?
Nah, I don't have any closing thoughts. I was just glad I was able to be here with you this evening.
Yeah, for sure, man. If whenever you watching the playback, you watching live, make sure you hit that like button. It helps us get this great, dope content out to as many people as possible. We appreciate the support. Subscribe to the channels, hit that notification bells. Share our videos, share this video to people who you know love sports like we do. And we go continue to cook and bring you these bangers. What a great, absolutely great podcast tonight. We wish you all well. And as we always do, peace.
Peace.